Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing my experience completing the Civil Services Early Diversity Insight Program virtually. So congrats to those who have their offers for this year, and stick around for some insights and some tips. In the timestamps in the description you can find the relevant sections. So I do have a similar video where I talk about my experience completing virtual spring weeks in investment banking, so you can check that out afterwards. I did the EDIP program in the summer of 2020 and we were the first cohort to have a virtual offering. And if you're curious as to why it was in the summer and not the spring, stick around until the end to find out. So for those who don't know, the EDIP is an insight program offered by the civil service for students in their first year of university. It is usually completed in the spring of your second semester in first year, and it's a really good stepping stone to the civil service's other programs such as their summer fast track and eventually their graduate program. Okay, so now on to a bit about my experience. So I applied on the 11th of November 2020 and I did my test on the same day. I was then sent their motivational questions, which at the time were: please explain why you have applied for the Early Diversity Insight Program and what you would see as the main benefits of the program to you personally. And also, please also indicate what you think you can offer the internship program, and also, when you graduate, what you can offer in the Civil Service Fast Stream graduate program itself. So I submitted my answers to these questions on the 17th of November. I then got an invite on the 6th of December to their final stage, which was a telephone interview which I did on the 8th of January. It was supposed to be slightly earlier, I think it was meant to be in the second week of December, but I had to reschedule, so that's why mine was a little bit later than other people's. I then got my offer on the 3rd of February, which is crazy because it was actually super competitive in my year. So apparently there were about 10,000 applicants and only like 200 or just over 200 spaces. So yeah, the civil services programs are pretty competitive, but yeah, I was super excited having got my offer. And then about a month later we got the schedule for the event. This is obviously before they had reacted to the pandemic, so this is what our program would have looked like. So it's kind of sad because one of the best things that I had heard about the EDIP was that, you know, the opening and closing ceremony were super fun. Like, it's apparently some sort of like dinner type dance setup, I think, with like other interns and people who are actual like civil servants. And yeah, it was held in like, I think it's usually held in some sort of like parliament buildings or government buildings, and so yeah, it's just supposed to be like really good, but you know, obviously we didn't get that in the end. So I was also paired with someone in their graduate scheme who was working at the Department of Work and Pensions, so yeah, I was gonna like shadow him for a few days as well. So unfortunately on the 20th of March the civil service emailed us to let us know that due to the pandemic our internship was going to be postponed. So we didn't know when, but they just said it was going to be later on in the year. So yeah, I didn't get any further like emails or communications from the civil service until the 7th of July, when they basically let us know that we would have our EDIP on the 28th and 29th of July. Okay, so now on to the virtual experience. So at 10 AM on the 28th of July we had the opening ceremony, which just laid out the plans for the next 2 days and yeah, just sort of introduced the event. And then the keynote speaker was the head of Fast Stream Assessment, who was super charismatic. We then had 2 great keynote speeches from 2 really inspirational people. Like, I have to say the speeches were amazing, super inspiring. We then had a Q&A from a bunch of people from their graduate program. So they're all like in different teams, and you know, I think like the civil service has 15 streams, and yeah, so they were all from different ones, and we just got more insights into that. I think the Q&A was good. I think the only thing was a little bit disorganized, but apart from that it was fine. So that part of the event ended at about 1:15, and then we had a break and we're back at 2:30 for a session on well-being and resilience. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't stay for all of it, but I think it was a good session. But yeah, that was the end of day 1. So the next day at 10 AM we started with a skills session. So this session was sort of focused on helping us do well for the next stage of recruitment, which is their fast stream. It's very much focused on the assessment centres, and the people were just giving a lot of tips and sharing about their experiences in the assessment centre. And then after this we went on to my favourite part of the programme, which was a one-to-one call with our fast stream mentor. So we were all paired with someone who is currently on the graduate scheme, and my person was super nice and honestly just so helpful. He worked in the finance stream, and which is actually one that I was really interested in. So yeah, I think having that one-to-one chat with him was probably like the best part of the whole internship. After that, I attended a session called A Day in the Life at Parliament, and then after that session was the closing ceremony. So that was basically the end of the EDIP program. Now let's talk about my thoughts on the entire experience. So if I'm being honest, the general consensus of what I've seen with people I know who did the program and what I've seen on forums on the internet was that the EDIP was a little bit unsatisfactory, sadly. I think it was a little bit less than what I was expecting, but there are definitely some good points to highlight. First thing is, I loved the talks. I really benefited from them, and I think it's really important to have sort of talks like that in internships, because it sort of like keeps you motivated for the next stage of recruitment. On the other hand, the program was quite disorganized leading up to the actual thing. So for example, they had only sent us the schedule, the first one that I showed, the schedule of us being in person. They'd only sent that by the time when like other internships had already announced that they were going virtual. So it's quite confusing because they sent us this program of like, you know, you'll have to travel here and here, but at this point other companies were already saying, you know, it's now gonna be online. That was a little bit weird, and they announced that it was virtual, I think just like 2 weeks before it would have actually held. So yeah, not very good in terms of giving people notice, and yeah, it was quite clear that it did lag behind the private sector when it came to being organized. However, I really appreciated the feature of having like a fast track mentor. So like, I think having a one-to-one session with someone who's working in the role that you're trying to go for is really useful in an internship. And I don't think, well, in my experience, I don't think like the private sector or like investment banking internships have something similar. I don't think that's that common, and having a one-to-one session can really help in helping you decide whether you actually want to get into that career or not. So yeah, big plus on that part. So something that I didn't like is that some sessions overlapped with others. So for example, the time frame where we were given to speak with our mentor overlapped with another like parliamentary section. So basically, if you chose to speak with your mentor, you would only be able to attend one of those 2 parliament-based events, which I think is a bit weird, seeing as it's only like a 2-day program. Like, it basically means that you won't get the full experience of everything on offer. But yeah. So all in all, I think it was a good offering, like especially given the situation. I also think after doing my banking internships, which happened in the spring, by the time that the EDIP took place in July, like summer internships for banking had already like opened, and I was very much preparing for that, which I filmed in the IBDiaries, which you can check out on my channel. So I think having already done that, getting into the EDIP, I was already like a little bit uninterested, and it probably didn't help that the program wasn't amazing in convincing me. So yeah, I bear that in mind. So if you're super fixed on the public sector civil service, like, you probably will enjoy it a lot more, especially having the one-to-one element. I know that this year is happening again in the spring and for a week this time, and they definitely will have like taken the feedback. So yeah, you should definitely look forward to your program this year. So I just wanted to end with sharing some tips on applying to the EDIP and the civil service in general. So the first thing that I would say is to join Recruitment. They honestly support you so much from the start to the end of the program. So for example, when I did my motivational questions, they checked mine before I sent it off, and they also gave me a practice interview before my actual thing, which didn't actually go that well. So it's probably good that I had them give me feedback before the real thing. So yeah, definitely join Rare. So the second thing is that you need to stick to their candidate success profile thing, which you can find on their website. So I know that they assess very strictly against this. So like any answers you give, or even like the interview questions they ask, are based around like this success profile that they have for candidates. Like, just to show how important it is to them, like in our handbook that we were given, like the first one, it said, "Congratulations on gaining a place on the program. The program employed a robust selection process, and your success emphasizes the strength of your skills in meeting the civil service behavior criteria." So, basically to succeed, you need to match up with their criteria. But yeah, you can find it on the website and you can tailor your answers to do so. So my final tip is to not worry about your CV. So this is something that a lot of people told me before applying. So basically the civil service adopts like a CV blind type of process. So all that matters is your test, your answers, and then your interview. So obviously you want to answer the questions highlighting your experiences, but you won't be screened out for anything on your CV. So that is everything for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Congrats to everyone again for your offers, and I hope it goes really well for you guys. Don't forget to like this video, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.